welcome to our channel Knowledge of. Friends, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for the latest update. Today we're going to start with your discussion about physics for class 11th, and that we had discussed in the last classes, which has been the part 1 क्योंकि physics ने 11th class के हमने physics start नहीं किया. We had started in the last classes, which has been the part 1 of the physics NCERT, which we have to talk about it. In NCERT, this has been the class 2. As I told you, we had done your class 1 for the physics part 1. Now we discuss about moreover further related to it, and that what we will discuss here has been the unit 1, which we had started here in the last class. Then the name of the unit is your physical world. In last classes, what we had done in the physical world, that we had discussed about the physics, what is physics, and the two principles thrust in the physics, that has been the unification and reduction. And even though we had done scope and excitement of physics as well, and with that we had done a polonium samples experiment as well. If you not gone through with that, you can go ahead and you will be finding it out the video as well. So first of all, before starting with this, it's a huge request to all the viewers to please go ahead with like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many maximum people can get the information at once, and you can also enjoy the video as well. Coming towards it, which we have to discuss here, and that has been about discussing about the hypothesis, axioms and models. So we go ahead. Hypothesis, axioms and models that we have to discuss here. So hypothesis, axioms and models in terms of physical world that we have to discuss here, where that one should not think that everything that can be proved with physics and mathematics, that all physics and also mathematics is based on the assumptions, each of which is variously that is called of hypothesis and axioms or postulates, etc. And for example, that the universal law of the gravitation that proposed by the Newton is an assumption or hypothesis which he proposed out of the ingenuity. Before him, there were the several observation, experiments and data on the motions of the planet around the sun, that motion of the moon around the earth, and the pendulum, that the pendulums here, the bodies that falling towards the earth, etc. Each of these required a separate explanation, which was more or less qualitative. And what the universal law of the gravitation that says that if we assume that any two bodies in the universe attract each other with a force proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them, then we can explain all these observations in one stroke. And it is not only that explained these observation in one stroke. So if it is not only explain these phenomena, it also allows us to predict the results of the future experiment as well. On the same page, that the hypothesis is a supposition that without assuming that it is true, it would not be fair to ask anybody to prove universal law of gravitation, because it cannot be proved, and it can be verified and that is substantiated by experiments and observation. An axiom is a self-evident truth, while a model is a theory proposed to explain observed phenomena. But you need not worry at this stage about the nuances in using these words. And for example, the next year you will be learning about the Bohr's models of hydrogen atom, in which the Bohr's assumed that they are the electrons in the hydrogen atom that follow the certain rules, that which we can say that that has been the postulates here. So why did he do that here? So basically, why do he do that? Yeah, that there was an amount of this spectroscopic data that before him, which is it was assumed that an atom behaves in such a manner that we can explain all these things at once. And Einstein's special theory of the relativity is also based on the two postulate where the two constancies of the spatials of that speed of electromagnetic radiations and the validity of the physical law in all inertia frame of references. It would not be wise, to ask somebody to prove that the speed of the light in vacuum is constant and independent of the source and or observe as well. On the same case, in mathematics too, we need axioms and hypotheses that at every stage that the Euclid's statements that in the parallel lines never meet is a hypothesis, and this measures that if we assume that this is a statement we can explain several properties of straight lines and two or more three-dimensional figures that made out them, and but if you don't assume it, you are free to use a different axioms and get a new geometry, as and indeed that has been happened as a part of the past few centuries and decades as well. On the same page we talk about the another topic that we have to discuss today. We have to go ahead for the same, and that has been about the physics, technology and society. Physics, technology and society. For physics, technology and society, that what we have discussed here. In the same phase here, that the connection between the physics, technology and society that can be seen in many examples, that the disciplines of thermodynamics arose from the need to understand and to improve the working of heat engines. The steam engine, as we know, is inseparable from the Industrial Revolution to the England in the 18th century, and which had a great impact on the course of human civilization. And sometimes the technology gave rise to the new physics. At one other time, the physics generates a new technology, and examples of the later is the wireless communication technology that followed the discovery of the basic law of electricity and magnetism. In the 19th century, that the applications of the physics are not always easy to foresee. As late as 1933, the great physicist that had been the Ernest Rutherford had dismissed the possibility of tapping energy from atoms, but only a few years later, in 1938, Hahn and Meitner that discovered the phenomena of neutrons that introduced the fissions of uranium, and which would serve as the basic of the nuclear power reactor and a nuclear weapon. Yet another important examples of physics that giving a rise to the technology is the silicon chip, and that triggered the computer revolution in the last 3 decades of the 20th century as well. On the same phase, we talk about it that a most significant area to which the physics has, and will contribute is the development of the alternative energy resources, that the fossil fuels of the planet and that is you're dwindling the fast, and there is an urgent need to discover the new and affordable sources of energy as well, where the considerable progress that has already been made in the directions, for example, in conversions of solar energy, geothermal energy, etc., into electricity. But much more is still to be accomplished. In this, we'll discuss the table here that will be the some of the great physicists that their major contributions, and the country as well that we discussed here with their country. And so for that of the region, and that you will be appreciate for this table that the multicultural international characters of the scientific endeavor, that will be some importance technique and the principles of the physics they are based on, that we'll discuss as well. So obviously these tables are not exhaustive here. We urge you to try to add many names and items to these tables with the help of your teachers and your good books, of course, and the websites on science. You will find that this exercise is very educative and also a great fun, and assuredly it will be never end, and the progress of science is unstoppable. Physics is the study of the nature and natural phenomena We are the physicists that try to discover the rules that have been the operating in nature on the basis of the observation, experiments, and analysis. Where physics deal with the certain basic rules, laws that governing the natural world. What is the nature that we have to discuss about it in detail? That has been the nature of the physical laws, and we shall now discuss the nature of the fundamental forces and that the law of the govern that the diverse phenomena of the physical world as well. So we'll discuss about the name, major contribution, discoveries in the countries and the duration. So we go ahead here. So we discuss here some physicists from different countries of the world, and their major contributions. Okay, so that we have to discuss here. So we'll discuss about the name, then we have your major contribution or discovery, and then of course country of origin. So that we have. So we'll discuss about the first name, and that has been, of course, that has been the very famous is your Archimedes. That has been the Archimedes. The major contribution and discoveries we have, he had done principle of buoyancy, principle of the lever, principle of the lever, lever, and that has been the country of the origin we have is being Greece. Now we talk about the another name that has been the Galileo Galilei. So that has been the Galileo Galilei, and that the major contribution and the discovery is your law of inertia. And the country of the origin is Italy. Now we talk about the another name, and that has been another physicist that from the different countries of the world and their major contribution. We talk about it. So that the another country we have, the another name is your Christian, that is Huygens. Christians, Huygens, and that has been the major contribution and distribution discovery we have, wave theory of light. and the country of the origin is Holland. Now we talk about the another one, which would be Isaac Newton. So Isaac Newton, the major contributions and discovery we have: universal law of gravitation, laws of motions, and reflecting telescope. Universal of gravitation, laws of motion, reflecting telescope. The country of the origin is UK. Now we talk about another one, which is we have is your Michael Faraday. Michael Faraday. So major contributions and discovery we have: laws of electromagnetic induction, laws of electromagnetic induction in the or country of origin is UK. Now we talk about for the another one, and that is being James Clerk Maxwell. James Clerk Maxwell, and that has been the major contributions and discovery we have here: electromagnetic theory, light, that is an electromagnetic wave. Electromagnetic theory, light, and electromagnetic wave. And that has been we have that has been the country that has been associated has been the origin as your UK. Now we talk about for the another one, and that we have here is your Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. You just made a table here that I had made you, because this will be go more longer, and you have to write it down, because you are not able to learn all these things at once, and you have to revise as well. So you can just write it down. So after that, James Clerk after that, Maxwell, we have your Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. Heinrich Rudolf Hertz. So that major contributions and distribution we have: generations of electromagnetic waves, and name of the origin of the country is Germany. Okay, now talking about the another one, and that we have here, which has been the another that we'll have to discuss, is J.C. Bose. And for the same, we have your major contributions and discovery is ultra short radio waves. Ultra short radio waves, and the name of the country we have India. Origin of the country is India. That has been J.C. Bose. Now we discuss about the another one, which has been the another new, and the name of the physicist we have is your W.K. Roentgen. So here we go for the name for next, and then we have your major contribution, or that has been your the discovery, and here it is your country of origin. So with the same we go. So after the JC Bose, we have here another one that has been W.K. Roentgen. And the discovery that a major contribution and the discovery he had made is your X-ray. And the country of origin that he belonged from is your Germany. The another one we have is your J.J. Thomson. The J.J. Thomson, the major discovery, the contribution we have is your electron. And the country he is belonging from is UK. So the another we have is the another name we have is your Marie Skłodowska and Curie, that is Marie Curie जिसे हम जानते हैं Marie Curie. And the discovery or the major contribution that he have is discovery of the radium and polonium and the studies on natural radioactivity. So discovery of radium and polonium, studies on natural radioactivity, and the country of the origin we have is your Poland. Now we talk about for the next one, that is in Albert Einstein. And that has been the major contribution, the discovery we have, the explanation of photoelectric effect and the theory of the relativity. Explanation of photoelectric effect, theory of relativity, and the country of the origin that he belongs from is Germany. Okay, so now we talk about further, and that has been, there are many more that we have to discuss here. So we go ahead for the next that we have to discuss as well. So the next we have here is about which has been going to be long, of course it will take time, so let's discuss some of them and then we'll discuss the next further in the next coming class, but there are many to discuss, so we discussed here. That is the another one, another name is your Victor Francis Hess. Victor Francis Hess. So the major contributions and the distribution discovery we have is your cosmic radiation, and the country of the origin is Austria. And another name is R.K. Millikan. And the major contribution discovery is the measurement of electronic charge. And the country of the origin is USA. Now we talk about for the another one, that is in the Ernst, that is Rutherford. For the Ernst Rutherford here that we have to discuss, the major contributions and the discovery we have is nuclear model of atom. And which is in your the country we have is New Zealand. Now before go ahead, and that has been other is your Niels Bohr. The Niels Bohr, and the major contributions and discovery we have is quantum model of hydrogen atom. Quantum model of hydrogen atom, and that the country of the origin is Denmark. Now we talk about the another one, which is there are many more that we have to discuss. It will be exceeded. So here for the Niels Bohr we end up with, that we'll discuss the rest in the next coming class, and that is of course being important, and that's what we'll have to discuss about. From we'll discuss with the Stephen Ravan, that is of course the country of the origin is India, and that we'll discuss here. And but before ending it up, it's a huge request to all the viewers to please go ahead with like, share and subscribe our channel, so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and another you can also enjoy the video as well. And other than physics, if I'm talking about, yes, we had done many of the things that has been, we had done your sociology, software engineering, we had done chemistry for class 11th, and class 12th for part 1. The rest we have to discuss in this next coming classes. This has been unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5, unit 6, unit 7, unit 8, unit 9. With the convergence logarithm we had done, we are dealing with the R diagram, we are dealing with English vocabulary, and even though we had done PHP and the questions as well. In terms of quantitative aptitude, we had started with arithmetical ability. In that we had done operations on numbers, the shape and unsafe of numbers, decimal fractions, simplification, square roots and cube roots, problems on numbers, problems on ages, size analysis, percentage, profit and loss. That is in the 11th topic we have to start with. We had, even though we'll be completing that as well. After completing that, we'll start discussing moreover. And in terms of reasoning, we had done verbal reasoning. In that we had done general mental ability and the logic reasoning. In non-verbal reasoning, we had done series, analogy, classification, analytical reasoning, mirror image, water image, embedded figure, completions of incomplete pattern, figure matrix, paper folding, paper cutting, rule detection, grouping of identical figures, cubes and dice, dot situation, constructions of squares and triangles, figure formation analysis, and practice question set. Coming towards physics part 1, that we had started with, and that we have for class 11 that we have to discuss, which has been the chapter 1 we had started with, which has been the physical world. Here we had done what is physics, scope and excitement of physics, physics, technology and society, fundamental forces in nature we have to discuss here. And after that we'll discuss about the nature of the physical law. In unit 2 we have to, chapter 2 we have to discuss the units and measurement. In that we have to discuss introduction, the international system of unit, measurements of length, measurements of mass, measurements of time, accuracy, precisions of instruments and the errors in measurement, significant figures, dimensions of physical quantities, dimensions formulas and dimension equation, dimensional analysis and its application. In chapter 3, we have to cover up the motion in the straight line, introduction, positions, path length and displacement, average velocity and average speed, instantaneous velocity and the speed acceleration, kinematic equations for uniformly accelerated motions and relative velocity. In unit 4, we have to discuss about motion in plane, that is in introduction, scalar and vector, multiplication of a vector by a real number, addition and subtractions of vectors, graphical method, resolutions of vector, vector addition, analytical method, motions in a plane, motion in a plane with a constant acceleration, relative velocity in the 2 dimensions, projectile motion as well, and uniform circular motion. In unit 5 we have to discuss about the laws of motion, which has been introduction, Aristotle fallacy, the law of the inertia, Newton's first law of motion, Newton's second law of motion, Newton's third law of motion, conservation of momentum, equilibrium of a particle, common forces in mechanics, and circular motion, solving problems in mechanics. Unit 6 is your work, energy and power, that has been introduction, notions of work and kinetic energy, the work energy theorem, work, kinetic energy, work done by a variable force, the work energy theorem for a variable force, the concept of potential energy, the conservations of mechanical energy, the potential energy of a spring, various forms of energy, the laws of the conservations of energy, power correlation. Unit 7 we have to cover up, that has been the system on a particles of a rotational motion, that has been introduction, center of mass, motion of the center of mass, linear momentum of the system of a particle, vector product of the two vectors, angular velocity and its radiation, relation with linear velocity, torque and angular momentum, equilibrium of the right body, moment of inertia, theorem of the perpendicular and the parallel axis, kinematics and the rotational motion about the fixed axis, dynamic of rotational motion about the fixed axis, angular momentum in case of the rotation about the fixed axis, rolling motion. Unit 8, we have to cover up the gravitation, which has been that has been the very most important unit, and that has been the Kepler's law, universal law of gravitation, the gravitational constant, acceleration due to the gravity to the earth, acceleration due to the gravity below the and above the surface of the earth, the gravitational potential energy, escape speed, Earth satellite, energy on the orbiting satellite, and geostationary and the polar satellite, and the weightlessness as well. So here we want to end up with. It's a huge request to all the viewers to please go ahead with like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that many and maximum people can get the information at once, and whether you can also enjoy the video as well. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and give a suggestion in the comment box. Thank you.